choices. For choices, Max made a choice to grab the organ factor
Yeah. Keep going. Out of what?
out of the tree.
Good. So Max chooses to get the ornithopter out of the tree for Kevin. And then what's your inference for that choice, Jacob? What do you know about Max because he does that choice?
That he's trustworthy to grab it.
Look at your sheet. I don't think it shows. No, look at on your left side. We just got a whole list of descriptive words.
Max is helpful.
Helpful. All right. Can we also say he's kind? If you're stuck, go back to this page. Look at that page. Is there a word on that page that you could use to describe Max? You do the same thing, Addie, as well.
Kind.
How is another word that you could use to describe Max?
I think I might have one that is likable for Max.
What do you got?
I would say because
Max is what? Which one of those words describes Max?
likable.
What do you got over here, Alexis? What do you think?
I would be maybe he would be maybe courageous.
What makes him courageous? That's a good one.
Well, he kind of took he gets a lot of bad news in this book. Like how far we've read, and I feel like he just acts like everything's okay. Like his dad and his mom, he like doesn't talk about it, and he keeps to himself, and he acts like nothing's wrong.
That's really good. He's got to have a lot of courage inside. His mom is dead. His dad's in jail. This takes a lot of courage just to wake up and get out of bed every day, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I like that one. Stick with that one. So,
I have an idea. I'm just trying to find an example from the text.
all right. What was something like you guys all had really good examples when we were talking out
Our
loud?
idea was thoughts for the inferences that Max is a butthead because in his thoughts he answers the question in his head and then goes, but I didn't say that because it's a typical butthead thing.
That's a really good one. So his thoughts is that in text Max thinks that he is a.
Butthead.
So that's your text example. So what inference do you make about Max because he has that thought? You can come back here. You know, does Max have a lot of self-confidence?
No.
So that might be our inference. It's not that he has self-confidence, but he lacks self-confidence, right? So over here, one of the things that Max thinks is Max thinks he's a butthead. We can infer then that Max probably doesn't. He's not very confident, is he? No.
Max cried after.
Which one are you guys on? You're doing feelings? All right, that's a tough one. It's always tough because sometimes the books don't come around and tell you what the characters are feeling.
I think for feelings we should do like the one where he cries after chapter 5.
All right. So how was he feeling though when he cried?
Happy.
He was feeling happy, and then his action actually he cries there. So what do you learn about Max? Because in this moment he shares with you how happy he is after dinner.
I think he cried because he's happy because that means he isn't gonna lose his new best friend.
What are some of the things that you guys got down?
He's imaginative because in chapter 5 he was laying under his bed thinking of himself lying as a cloud in the sky.
Okay.
After Gwen ran off with Freak.
All right, that's a good one. You want to share one that you wrote down?
I did Max is helpful. He lifts Freak up on his shoulders to see the fireworks.
That's really good. Again, I like that. Max is helpful. Don't forget your period. You're starting with your text example. So one thing that Max, listen, Taylor, wait, before you write anything down, pause. Is that something that Max does? Is it an action? Is it a choice? Is it a feeling? Is it something he says, or his thoughts?
Choice.
Okay, so Max chooses to get the ornithopter. That's what you're saying. So that would go here in your text example. And then from here, what do we learn about Max because he makes that choice? Max is what?
Kind.
Max is kind. That's what you do. So Max is kind. We know that he's kind because of a choice he made. He chooses to help Kevin get that ornithopter. All right, do you understand that? So you guys can go start with a text example and give an inference, or you can start with an inference and then go back into the book until you know Max is not confident. How do you know it?
One of the things, like, he's not confident in himself because in the beginning he said that he don't have a brain until Freak comes along.
Very good. He says, I don't have a brain. So this is something that he's thinking. So you guys put it in thoughts? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Max thinks he does not have a brain. And so what do we know about this? Max lacks confidence. All right, were you able to get caught up, Bryce?
I'm still gluing.
All right. Did these girls explain what we're trying to do?
No.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're analyzing Max. All right, so we're taking a look at Max's thoughts, his words, his feelings, his choices, and his actions, and then we're looking at what can we learn, what can we infer about Max based on those things. Okay. Try your best tonight as you do it.
What is the point of view of this passage from
Gulliver's Travels. All right, so read that short passage, and then you guys got to decide: is it first or third person?
Mine.
This is an interesting place to pick to work. Here, where we're getting into it, and he says, "I stood upon the hearthrug and picked up the stick which our visitor had left behind the night before."
Well, that could be somebody else in the story, though.
It could, but just because it starts with Mr. Sherlock Holmes, don't read it. So if you read it, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, who was usually very late in mornings, save upon those not infrequent occasions when he was up all night, was seated at the breakfast table. I stood upon the hearthrug and picked up the stick which our visitor had left behind him the night before. So is your narrator in the story, or are they outside the story? So that would be what point of view? First person. All right, are you two working together?
Yes.
All right, well,
Number 8.
wow, you guys are really flying.
Yeah. I think it's first person again because it says when I walked into my oldest child's bedroom.
Give me one of the ones that you guys did already.
Number 3.
Okay, number 3. What was that one from?
The Secret Garden.
All right, and what did you guys think that one was? First or third person?
Third person because it never said I, me, or we.
All right,
and it
so
said her.
okay, so the narrator is not someone in the story? No. Okay, good. What do you guys think of that second passage? What's it from? The Hound of Baskerville?
Yeah.
All right. You think that's the first person, or you think it's a second person? Or sorry,
I think it's
third person.
third person because it doesn't use.
It doesn't say anything about first person, and it says
Well, it doesn't use I.
yeah.
Again, is the narrator in the story, or is the narrator outside the story?
In the story.
If the narrator is in the story, then what point of view is it?
Oh, first person.
If the narrator is someone in the story, it's first person. If the narrator is someone outside of the story, it's a third person. The second one?
Now we're on third.
Alright. What's the third passage from? What story?
The Secret Garden.
The Secret Garden. Any of you ever read The Secret Garden?
No.
Alright. These are classics.
Mary asked no more questions, but waited in the darkness of her corner, keeping her eyes on the window. The carriage lamps cast rays of light a little distant ahead of them, and she caught glimpse of the things they passed.
I think it's third person because it doesn't say I or we or my or anything like that.
There you go.
It also says her.
Yeah, who's the character? Who's the story about?
Mary.
It's about Mary, right? And is Mary the one telling you her story? No, someone else is telling us about Mary, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's third person.
How are you girls doing?
So far she's doing the first question and reading it, and
Keeping her eyes on the window, the carriage lamps cast rays of light a little distance ahead of them. She caught glimpses of the things they passed. Third person.
What do you guys think that one is?
I think it's third person because they never said I or me, like
Yeah.
anything about their feelings.
I like to tell students, start with asking yourself, is the narrator someone in the story? Because if they are, then you stop right there, and it's what point of view?
Third.
No,
No,
the
first.
narrator's in it.
Yeah,
It's
first.
And then you don't have to go any further. It's first person. But if it's an outside observer, eventually you'll have to start asking yourself, are we limited? Is it omniscient? How about you, Willa? How you doing? You're working independently also? Which one are you on? Number 6? All right. So you guys are on number 9?
Yeah.
All right. What do you think of number 7 and 8? Did you guys recognize where those passages are from?
No.
Oh wait, no. This is 8 is from Toy Story. But I don't know what 7's from.
Today was the day I would be leaving for college. And even though I was excited, I sure was going to miss my family. So there was a lot of feeling. And the narrator.
Yeah, I think it's third person omniscient because it talks about all the characters and explains his thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, because the mom, because we know that this one, the mom said she gasped and threw her arms around the.
I want to point out that whole I clue I gave you. Look at it start as I walked through my bedroom door, and then down here he goes on to say, I couldn't believe today was the day that I would be leaving for college. So, ask yourself first, is the narrator someone in the story?
Yes.
So right there, that's your stopping spot. If they're in the story, it's automatically got to be what?
First person.
Yeah, it's got to be first person. But then if it's outside of the story, that's when you have to start asking yourself, okay, do I know the thoughts and feelings of one? Do I know the thoughts and feelings of all? Understand?
Yeah.
All right. What number are you guys on?
Number 4.
Number 4?
Yeah.
All right. What's that passage from? What story is that passage from?
It's from The Secret Garden.
Okay. Go for it. You can read it and then decide, first person or third person.